Yes, indeed. Worldwide movement. Peace, love, respect. Big King Sadiq hollering at you one more again. Yes, indeed. Woo! Feeling great. Let's get it going. Feeling great. Yes, indeed. Magnificent. I see we starting to come in, family. Come on in. Let's talk today. Let's talk a little bit to each other today. Come on in, folks. Come on in. Announce yourselves as you come in the chat so I can say hi and welcome to the conversation. We sit down with each other for a little bit and we build, right? A foundation for us to move forward with in cementing in our new high vibrational frequency paradigm, one that I like to say looks a lot like peace, love, respect. True indeed. Man, thank you all. Thank you all. True indeed. Well, as I like to do and have become a little bit customary with, in the beginning of this, we'll go ahead and play a little something off of my album. It's a song called Concentrated Thought, right? And we listen to that as folks file in, so to speak, and we get our conversation going, all right? Let me play that for you one time. This is Concentrated Thought off the album PLR New Paradigm. Deanne, my dear. Thank you. Wonderful. Thank you for chiming in. Everybody, when you come in, please chime in. I look forward to saying hi and welcoming you to the conversation. Yes, indeed. Deanne, from Connecting the Dots with Deanne. Everybody, make sure you check her out. Connecting the Dots with Deanne, please. Yes, this is one of the songs off the album. Yes, indeed. It's called Concentrated Thought off the album PLR New Paradigm. Come on in, folks. We're going to have a nice conversation with ourselves today in this beautiful forum that we've begun to call the family, where we get together every week to talk about things. Fast thoughts, no truly. Ask y'all to truly have my back and see it through me. Vicarious, the scariest, just rocking my moccasins. They fly over my neighborhood with poison, no stopping them. Hands no dropping, no, we stay on alert. You get killed faster by police, the murderous earth. It's time we change this shit. Exposing all the lies that would change us with. It's time we change this shit. Exposing all the lies that would change us with. Sister Heather chiming in with us. Welcome, Heather. So magnificent to see you. Yes. Deanne, how are you feeling, dear? I hope you are healthy to the optimum limit. There is no limit. And I hope that you are doing well. If you were a little under the weather, please know I send my love and healing energy to you. Always. And let us know how you're feeling today. Hey. That's what we're doing, folks. We're changing things. The caterpillars are in with us. Yes, we welcome all forms of life in the worldwide movement. Peace, love, respect. True indeed. Yes, we do. Deanne, diagnosed with Lyme disease. Caught it early. So they say good prognosis. Sister, you know I love you. We love you and send you healing energy, right? For anybody that knows, the pyramid we use in concentrated thought. How applicable after that song just being played. In concentrated thought, I send you love and healing energy. My sister Deanne. Heal. 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 I love you. Indeed. Yes, indeed. We send that to you, Heather. Yes, yes. You know we got you. You know we got you. True indeed. See, that's what family's about, right? That's what real family's about. Not necessarily limited. In fact, not limited to those who we would consider our surrounding family or our blood family, but extended family through which we let our wonderful unconditional love and our healing energy circulate. Anytime one needs it, we send it and we keep lifting each other up. We'll never fall down because we got each other's back. Huh? True indeed. True indeed. All right, folks. That was beautiful. We had a nice little healing moment, and we'll continue to do things like that in the future because, like I said, we got each other and we're all a family, right? Yes, indeed. All right, folks. Well, I thank you all again for this new episode, chiming in. Building with Big King, building that foundation, right? We're cementing in the foundation for our new high vibrational frequency paradigm, one that exhibits, that exudes peace, love, respect. True indeed. Well, folks, today we are talking about a very, very interesting subject. Today we are talking about, and I apologize for not putting this in the description, but today we are building and talking about dictating our health and manifesting our reality on a daily basis. All right. Today we're building on dictating our health and manifesting our entire reality on a daily basis. Now, aspects of this conversation we've had previously, but I want to take it to not only a different level, but touch on some different aspects of this conversation. Deanne states, I hear today that water is the first to take in the energies. So we may need to trim more as we take in the new energies. Indeed, indeed, indeed. Water is a very powerful modality when it comes to energy transference. And we know that water is entirely programmable, right? Water is extremely reactive and interactive with our consciousness, right? The energetic intent that we are able to carry through our consciousness is very interactive with and is a modality through which we could use water, is a modality through which we can program our intentions, right? Very strong energetic interaction we have between ourselves and molecules. Now, and water molecules. Now, very interesting. I have to sort of put this out there as a side note, but relative to the issue. Now, talking about water, something really just gave me a big push earlier this week, right? Sort of a deja vu push, if you will. When I saw someone talking about the kind of water that we drink and have come accustomed to, and that there is another kind of water that we actually should be accessing in a much different way. Okay, and what I'm talking about is something that I heard Dr. Yaki Awakened, um, building on. And shout out to that brother, Yaki Awakened. Please, everybody, I recommend truly that you, anytime you have an opportunity, it's Karma. I see you in here. Thank you for chiming in, man. You made it in, brother T. Come on in the conversation. Sit on down, get comfortable, stay with us, and build. True indeed. Welcome, welcome. Thank you. All right, so yeah, water um, is something that is vital to us, right? But we think about water in terms of H2O. And there is something that I actually was very familiar with, um, man, probably as many as 30 years ago. At least my mind was starting to broach H2 or H3O, right? Instead of H2O, H3O. And now all of a sudden I'm seeing more and more about it. And I'm telling you, this is how incredible this phase of my life is. As things that I thought about and that I pondered about, scientifically and just involved in different areas of my life years ago are now starting to unfold as different ways that we can broach our ability to control our own health, right? And that actually we can do a lot better than we seem to be doing in taking the advice or just strictly rolling with the advice of quote unquote health professionals. Um, there's a lot left on the table for us to do free thinking, independent research on in that area, right? And when it comes to looking at alternative sources of getting our drinking water. So, Brother Yaki was talking about actually getting your drinking water not from water that you would have in a bottle of water or even a glass of water of some sort, but actually getting your drinkable water from sources like fruit, right? Fruits that are very high in water, like watermelon, like cucumbers, right? Like citrus fruits, like oranges and so forth, right? Any fruit, even apple, is very high in water content. Any fruit or vegetable that is high in water content, actually acquiring your daily water by eating more of those fruits, which actually makes perfect sense, right? He even spoke about going as long as a year and a half without drinking externally sourced water or water that is sourced outside of naturally occurring instances of water where we would find it in fruits and vegetables, right? And going a period of up to a year and a half without orally taking in um, any water other than what he took in his fruits and vegetables. And that, just to let you know, folks, is something I'm going to personally be embarking on very soon. Now, I've done similar things. Well, actually, a lot different. I've just done fast in the past, right? I've done like 72-hour water fast. Um, I've done 24, 48-hour fast where all I've eaten is fruits and vegetables and things of that nature. But yeah, I'm going to be embarking on that sort of in a experimental way, you might say, very soon. And I'll keep you folks abreast of the progress. But that is something very interesting. And he was talking about how the water that you acquire from fruit is actually H3O, right? As opposed to the H2O that we get, and is a far more molecularly bonding molecule, the H that bonds to us um, far better in a far more cohesive way at the molecular level than H2O. So I just think that's a very interesting thing. But to get back into today's conversation, sorry, folks, I got a little bit drawn off on that, but I think it's very interesting and is relative to this, but very interesting and something very worthwhile for us to look into. H3O, folks. Check into that. H3O as opposed to H2O. Very powerful. So, all right. Dictating our health and manifesting our reality on a daily basis. First of all, I would say the biggest aspect of this is mentality. Okay. I'm going to start with a mentality or an aspect of our mentalities that seems to be very popular, right? And it makes sense, unfortunately, in a fear society, that it would be popular for us to take on sort of a victim mentality. Does watermelon seeds come or cover a lot of H3O? For some reason, folks, let me move this over because part of the chat is getting cut off. Give me just a moment and see if I can alleviate that issue. Here we go. All right. Thank you for bearing with me. Brother T asks, does watermelon seeds contain a lot of H3O? Not necessarily the seeds. I'm not saying to eat the seeds. But let me be clear about this. I'm not recommending seedless watermelon because that's not natural. Fruit should have seeds. Pardon me. And I do also want to differentiate that I'm not saying to eat the actual seeds of the watermelon, but eat watermelon with seeds. But no, not the seeds itself, just the watermelon. Eat the actual fruit. Contains a lot of naturally occurring water. And in that kind of fruit, high water bearing fruit like watermelon, cucumber, citrus fruits, apples, etc. That kind of water is actually H3O as opposed to the H2O. Watermelon is very good for that. But understand that watermelon is actually a hybrid fruit and it is part of the cucumber family. So the truest source is actually cucumber in that family, but also all the citrus fruits, right? Grapes, right? Apples, excellent source of H3O. Brother Sean Johnson in the house. Welcome. Thank you for joining us. Just to refresh folks, we are talking today about dictating our health and, setting our health, dictating our health, and setting or manifesting our reality on a daily basis, because both of those things I feel are very actionable and that we can do on a daily basis. So now I started to talk about the aspect, and anybody else, folks, feel free to announce yourselves in the chat so I can say hi to you and welcome you to the conversation, right? But yeah, we were talking a little bit about H3O versus H2O. H3O, folks, there. I marvel at times at some of the things that I used to think about as a teenager. And I really marvel at myself. And I don't say that from an egotistical standpoint, but I'm just amazed at the things that I used to think about as a teenager. And now, me at 50, recalling, yeah, man, dang, I used to actually sit there and put a lot of thought into these things, right? As a teenager, not taking it entirely serious, but I had a high level of curiosity about these things. And H3O is one of the things that I was very curious about as a teenager. Okay. So take what you want from that. Mavi, welcome, sister, to the family. Welcome to the conversation. You know we love to have you. Thank you. True indeed. We're talking today about dictating and setting our health and manifesting our reality, all of which on a daily basis. So I started talking about the first aspect of this, which I think is incredibly important and powerful, which is our mentality, right? I feel that we are programmed. I know that we are indoctrinated and programmed in this fear society to take on a very victim like mentality, right? A mentality that sort of says, well, these things happen to me. You get a certain age and your health that's just what happens. You get in your 40s and you start to fall apart. Well, folks, you don't have to start to fall apart in your 30s and 40s, right? You can be in your 50s, 60s, and 70s and be starting to feel like you're just entering your prime or maybe not even there yet, right? You can really start to feel virile and healthy, like you got a whole lot more life left ahead of you in your 50s, 60s, and 70s. That's how we all should be feeling, right? So we need to really rid ourselves of the mentality that would state to us that we should be of a failing health, right? When we reach our 50s, 60s, and 70s, and that we should be having expectations of just rapidly dying off in our 80s and maybe luckily broach 90, right? I don't accept any of those limitations myself. And I don't live in those fears, right? And I don't feel that I'm a victim of my own body. I think that's a very illogical way for us to think. Um, I'm trying to walk from downstairs to Verona, downtown to Verona, like you when I'm 60. I ain't 60 yet. I'm 50, bro. But yeah, the brother, thank you, Brother T, for shouting me out. Just something I did fairly recently. I walked from downtown Pittsburgh to Verona. For any of you who may know me, I love long walks, right? I gain a lot from them spiritually. It helps me to maintain a very um, connected, a very high level of connectivity to the planet, and to have that sort of a free flowing mentality, right? And that's something I did recently. Thank you for shouting that out, bro. True indeed. But yeah, when we get into our 50s, 60s, and 70s, we do not need to feel like it's just time for us to naturally start falling apart and for our health to be declining. That is a very victim-like mentality. All of the ailments that we are told should naturally start occurring to us in our 50s, 60s, and 70s are all a lie. And when I say they're all a lie, I mean that it's a lie that you should expect those things and that you should welcome them into your life as natural occurrences at any of those ages as a marker. You certainly should not. Folks, the whole purpose of me highlighting mentality in this is for you to understand that your body is listening to you, right? Literally. And when I say that, I mean quite literally every atom, every molecule, every cell of your body is listening to you as the master. You are the master of your body. What a novel concept. Yes, it makes perfect sense. This is your body, folks, right? It is literally spawned forth from the force of your will to exist. That cannot be underestimated or overstated. Folks, let me repeat that. Your physical body, right? Every cell of your body replicates from the force of your will to exist. That is why when people get older and they become sedentary and they stop getting out as much or stop moving around as much, they ultimately start to decline that much more rapidly in their health and often are on the doorsteps of death, right? When you accept and approach that and start to lose the force of your will to live, right? You are robbing your cells of the necessary force for them to replicate fully. Okay? Folks, your body has the blueprint of your optimum health. Your body knows what it looks like for you to be in perfect health. Your body literally has a blueprint of that. Your smart body, right, or your innate system utilizes that blueprint to dictate to your cells or communicate at a very intelligent level how your cells should replicate. The problem is you are the boss, even over your innate system. Your innate smart body system is subservient to your consciousness. All right? So, if you believe and you walk around every day speaking out loud all of your health ailments in all the various ways in which your body is failing you, it's listening. And just as you accept it and you speak about it as though it's a natural part of life, your body, your atoms, your molecules, the very cells of your cellular structure are paying attention. And they're listening to you dictate what your health is. So the very instant that you accept into your mentality and incorporate into your consciousness, and then furthermore speak out loud into existence, right? And out into the quantum field, you've just done two things. The very two things we're discussing today. You have set and dictated your health, and by spewing it outward into the quantum field, you have set and manifested your reality. Those things are scientifically quantifiable and have been proven over and over again experimentally in research, and the data is there for you to take all of that in, not to just accept my word for it, but to do the free thinking, independent research that would back up and verify that that is entirely true. Right? Folks, you are in charge of you in every aspect. Mentally, spiritually, and physically, you're the boss. Your consciousness dictates exactly what table is to be set for your health, for how your life will play out in its existential reality. You dictate all of that. So that's why I started with mentality. Mavi states quickly, oftentimes people aren't aware that they need to build their understanding of their own holistic practice of living instead of not knowing or developing this knowledge and practicing death. Truth. Truth. Go ahead, speak truth to power, sister. True indeed. That is exactly what I'm saying, is that we are taught that. We are indoctrinated very heavily into incorporating that into our belief system and unfortunately into our daily lives. Folks, I have a lot of people um, who are not just taken aback, but somewhat um, uh, unable to accept the reality when I tell them that I have not had a bad day in close to 7 years. Huh? I have not had a bad day in close to 7 years. I have not felt like a victim of my own body in close to 7 years. And I've already gone on to talk about the things that I've healed from, that I was told I would have to take medication for the rest of my life. And I haven't taken one pill. All right. But again, it is about the mentality. You must first, in your consciousness, accept that you are in charge, right? With that comes with the development and expression of your mentality. Your mentality must be that you are the boss of your entire physiological system, right? When you do so, the second you do so, there's something, and when I say you do so, when you accept that in terms as of being your mentality, there is a practice that I would encourage you to immediately start taking place in, and that is talking to your body, right? Folks, when you speak out loud, first of all, you formulated a thought, right? You had a concept in your consciousness that you brought into the fourth dimension, into thought form, okay? And you then electromagnetically, when you spewed that energy out into the quantum field, you brought that fourth dimensional thought form further down into physicality, into the 3D, 4D realm of physicality, and it became your reality. But know that it started as a thought form that you created based on a conceptual seed in your consciousness. Folks, the gist of what I'm saying is that you have power over you. You are not a victim. You are the boss and in charge of your entire physical existence. This is you, and you're in charge of all of it, right? The medical industry, as it is currently constructed, and there are doctors who've spoken to this, is not designed to empower you in this way. In fact, it is designed to take away your power and place your dependency in external solutions fed to you by the pharmaceutical industry, in either some pharmaceutical remedy, um, some surgical procedure, or some other external to internally invasive process, rather than strengthening your ability to control your own cells. I mean, folks, let's think about it. When are we going to be willing to, or when is it going to make sense to us to take ownership of us holistically and completely? Just like Mavi was saying, when are we going to holistically conceptualize, speak, spew out into reality, and manifest our own physicality, our own health, and holistically dictate that and manifest it as part of our reality. That's just one aspect of our reality that we can manifest. Folks, you can manifest every aspect, every aspect of your existence on a daily basis. But you can't do it from a victim's mentality. All right? You cannot do it waking up every day starting to think about all the things that happen to you or all the things that you feel like you don't have power over. That is not how you manifest your reality. You must, the same way you take ownership over your physical body, you have got to take ownership over your energetic bodies, right? Each layer of your auric body. And you have got to accept the responsibility of how you wield that power. Because it is power, folks. You are powerful beyond belief. You have a scientifically proven ability to interact at a dictatable level to the quantum field that connects us all and actually manifest our entire existential reality. You are not a pawn in that game. You're the hand moving the pieces. The problem is when you believe, or should I say, when you don't realize that you are the hand moving the pieces, you've put a blindfold on yourself and you're moving blind. Well, what do we know about, and this is not a disparaging statement to people who are not sighted. Certainly some of the most fantastic and intelligent and creative and powerful people that I have met are not sighted. But when we think of being blind, what do we think? We think about leading someone around, right? We think of leading someone when they are blind and unable to see their way through the Maya, through the facade of a reality that we're given. Because it is a facade, folks. It is fake. It is fugazi to tell you that you're a victim, to tell you that you are weak and powerless, that you have no way to control your health throughout the course of your life, that there are these factors that are hereditary and all these different things that will dictate without anything you can do how long you're going to live and what your quality of life will be. Folks, all of that is false, right? It's all a lie. And like I said, there are even those in the medical industry who would stand up and champion every word that I just spewed, right? The problem is that many of us are dictated to and indoctrinated heavily by those members of the AMA and the ADA, the American Mental Association, American Medical Association and American Dental Association. I mention those two associations with no disparagement, right? But I do give my personal opinion on the mentality that is propagated, which is one of a victim's mentality, that you are not in control in either arena, and neither is true, right? I am not a medical doctor. I am not a dentist. That is my personal opinion, and that is also what I can give testimonial through my own personal experience, as well as the experience of others that I know and love, like dear Heather, right? So, I'm going to wrap this up and open this up to, I can't wait to continue to hear more about what you folks are saying here. And I want to wrap this up with saying that, again, the very first thing that we have to tackle in this battle, folks, is mentality. We absolutely must get rid of this mentality that is programmed so intrinsically into us, intrinsically into our mentality, our consciousness from the earliest of ages, that there's just things that we're going to come down with. There are things health-wise we can't control. There's certain things that run in your family, and you have to look out for this, and your predisposition for that and for this. No, you are not. You can have just as good as or better health than anyone else, right? That or that you're not limited, in other words, in what your the quality of your health can be throughout your life, right? You're not limited, quite honestly, in your life expectancy. But again, that goes toward higher levels of consciousness. And the higher we go in consciousness, the more we're able to do things like actually affect our DNA with our consciousness, which is scientific fact, by the way, folks. Your consciousness does very powerfully impact your DNA, right? And when you are operating or thinking or resonating from a point of a very high vibrational frequency consciousness, your DNA efficacy increases and your DNA literally unfolds and expresses itself far more fully than when you are operating or um, uh, um, living with and resonating in a vibrational frequency or a consciousness that is a low vibrational frequency. Your DNA in those conditions in that arena tends to shrink, to actually not express itself fully at all, and really is stagnated in its DNA efficacy. All right. All of those things are within your control. And the key is adopting a powerful mentality that includes the mastery of all those things in your consciousness, right? Rather than a victim's mentality that tells you that you have no power over any of these factors and that you can only seek external remedies and external assistance in dealing with these issues. I again reiterate to you that you most certainly have the ability, with adopting a higher consciousness, to impact all of these things powerfully. One of the tools that I would recommend that you use on a daily basis is meditation. Meditation really, for me and for millions of others throughout the planet, but for me most certainly increases my ability to become in touch with myself, right? To look within, and in doing so, I raise my consciousness in the area of uh, my own DNA efficacy, right? I become aware of my conscious impact on my DNA efficacy and ultimately my health and lifespan right along with it. But like I said, folks, our health is not the limitation of what we can manifest. Every aspect of our day is actionable and that we can manifest it in our daily meditation. Folks, the way beyond your mentality, right? The most important actionable, in my opinion, and powerful thing that you can do is actually how you set your day in the beginning. I mean, from the instant that you rise. Many of you have been on my podcast previously and I talked about tweaking hours. What's tweaking hours? Well, tweaking hours in the dope world, that's when the dope fiends get up early in the morning and they bothering you and hitting you and blowing you up. Unfortunately, I know about that, right? But there's a reason for that. And I gave you a low vibrational frequency connection and reasoning for that in previous podcasts. It's because the low vibrational frequencies and the low vibrational energies that are housed or that have sort of camped on the planet in this realm, the 3D, 4D realm that we exist in, those energies are the weakest, right? And are experiencing that depravity that I told you is associated with low vibrational frequency energy and or entities, right? When you don't have that attachment to the creative source within, then you experience a deep and very powerful depravity, right? And that is strongest in the wee hours of the morning, as they say, right? Or as colloquially some of us refer to as tweaking hours, right? So when you awaken, the early parts of the day, those thoughts are pushed out to humanity at like incredible yearning, right? Yearning is probably a good way to describe it because those energies or entities are yearning to impact you to get to a low vibrational frequency mentality and resonance so you can feed them or feed it, however you want to look at it, right? Instead of that, I recommend you start your very day on a high vibrational frequency resonance with affirmations of who and what you are, right? And folks, you can really gain insight by getting out into nature, getting your shoes off, getting barefoot, connecting with the earth, right? Really grounding with Gaia, and then meditating and looking in to learn more about you, right? You come from Gaia. Think about this, folks, right? You physically, no matter how our species or how we all originally got on the planet, this version of you, this physical you right now, that's alive like I'm alive right now, is comprised of everything that comes from this planet, including all your energy. Everything is connected with and in association with and in divine partnership with great Gaia. You need to know that. And you need to connect in order to have better ability to to meditate and to have effective results from going within and becoming more in touch with yourself, with increasing that communication between you and your atoms, molecules, and cells, with increasing the power and ability for your smart body system, right, to interact with all of your body and all of your energetic body. Remember, it is your energy, right? Your energetic bodies or your auric bodies, right? Your aura, that you can, and when you really start to resonate and become powerful and connective on a spiritual level, you can actually start to spin your Merkaba faster. But that's another conversation, probably a whole nother podcast. But really, folks, every day, by speaking your affirmations, right, by cognizing them, which means you have a level of belief or understanding or knowing that is greater than a requisite for physical proof. When you have cognized this, and by getting up early, whenever you get up, arising first thing before you start moving around and doing other stuff, even before you wake and bake, folks, right? Even before that, yes, that's right. Before Big King does any wake and bake or any of that kind of stuff or anything, the first thing I do is get in connection. First of all, let me say this. How could I not? The very first thing I do is get in connection with the creative source within me. Huh? That's the first thing. That's the most important thing. That's where I start to express my gratitude. And from that point, I start in with gratitude not only for who and what I am, but and what the creator has made me to be, created me to be, right? The expression of our creator's energy that I am, right? But then I go into my gratitude for all who have aided me, right? And who are aiding me now. I share gratitude for my spirit team, elders, ancestors, and higher beings, right? Beings that exist in higher dimensional planes, but love me and us just the same and more powerfully, actually, than many of us realize or accept. And it aid us all the time, right? I know that's esoteric, but it's also multidimensional. So it's not necessarily esoteric only. But yeah, for my father, who in fact walks with me, right? Um, my mother, my seven, right? My divine connection. Um, my grandparents, right? Who are no longer physically with me, but who I got to have a wonderful and beautiful relationship with. Powerful connection that still remains. And then all of my grandparents, right? Including all my ancestors, because they love me and help me. They love us and help us, right? I express that gratitude. And for my circle of the righteous, all those who have walked with me at some stretch of this lifetime of this living experience, right? Truly, I'm grateful for all of them and their love and aid. And I continue on with different levels of my gratitude, right? And I start to then go into expression again of who and what I am, right? And I recommend folks that you really focus on your spiritual connectivity to the creative source within, that you meditate on who you are spiritually, right? Folks, remember that this, albeit incredibly beautiful, right? Our physical selves are magnificent, but that's just your 3D, 4D corporeal expression. You, that's the actual you, the light being you, or the spirit you, the multidimensional version of you, right? Is magnificent on entirely infinitely greater levels, right? And it is very important for you to start to understand who you are on that side, right? Um, Folks, you are a multidimensional being that has a 3D and 4D corporeal self, but does not stop here. You continue on and through the veil into the other multidimensional expressions or levels of existence, right? You are a multidimensional being, right? And the more you know and understand about your multidimensional existence, the more you understand about the spiritual aspect of you, who you are spiritually, the more you empower yourself and the more raw spiritual energy through the higher elevation of your consciousness, you are then able to incorporate into your physical being. All right. And I don't want to get too far on this because I'm getting ready. Y'all got me really ready to start opening one up today. All right. So just know that how you start your day, and you don't have to dictate. And I just gave you a small portion of what I do in my daily rising, but it sure works for me. And I know if you develop what it is that is right for you in your own affirmations and in your own strengthening of your connectivity with the creative source when you rise on a daily basis, then it will certainly work for you as well. All right. So I'm going to open this up a little bit because I got to get back into what you folks got to say and think about us being able to set and dictate our health and to manifest our reality, our existential reality on a daily basis. All right. Folks, please chime in. I got already, I want to start back up. I'm gonna restate my V statement because it was that dope and powerful. Thank you again, sister. Oftentimes, people aren't aware that they need to build their understanding of their holistic practice of living instead of not knowing or developing this knowledge and practicing death, right? And that goes into the fear mentality and the victim mentality that I was talking about earlier. True that, Marv. Thank you. Thank you. And then Deanne comes in with, I love your example of the body. Thank you, sister. I'm already having the perfect blueprint. That's right. That's right. Listen, folks, our innate, again, is capable. I'm referring to your smart body, is entirely capable of dictating to your cells, the cells of your body, right? Of dictating actually to your DNA to express the necessary set of instructions to your cells on how to replicate. Do we understand that, folks? We are always constantly replicating cells, right? This is why you have dead tissue on your, that you from time to time have to remove from your feet or your hands or different parts of your body. It's almost like we're molting, like is common in the animal or insect kingdom, right? Because to a degree we are. We're just constantly in that process of replacing old dead cells with fresh, new, revitalized reprints of our cell, right? Of ourselves. We're always engaged in that process. And then when I go down a little bit, Brother T asked, how did your journey start? Oh, man, that is a deep and powerful question, my brother, that I am entirely willing to go through a discussion with you. But I will, for this platform right now and this opportunity that we have a little forum to share and talk to each other's family, I would just say that it is, first of all, it's actually been a lifelong thing for me, really. When I look back at my life, I've always been engaged in study, so to speak, right? But for this current aspect of my spiritual awakening and where I'm at right now, it started close to 7 years ago with an actual awakening event and a series of things that happened after that. And like I said, I'll discuss that with you when I see you. And maybe that is something that I can open up into one of these podcasts and get deeper into. But it is deep, right? And it's pretty powerful. And it is very personal and very it's very engaging, right? It's something that we can get deep into, but I certainly won't run away from that, and we can have that discussion, both personally and perhaps here on the with the forum. And then going down, okay, my spiritual journey to that. Um, Mavi comes back in and says, beyond mentality, mineral cell salts is a new area of research for me and how to maintain and strengthen my system. Yes, our mineral intake is vital, right? Salts, different various forms of salts are a part of your mineral intake. Um, so yeah, we can certainly delve more into that, Mavi. But your diet, furthermore, on that, I'm glad you said that because I actually should have expressed it a little more. But I felt like I talked about this more in previous podcasts, how impactful your diet is, right? Folks, you are what you eat. Period. You literally are what you eat. If you think about your weight and how you gained your weight, right? Um, and remember, I feel comfortable talking about this a little bit, having lost, nearly 100 pounds, 90 pounds or so, and knowing what it feels like to have that on me. Those 90 pounds, right, were literally a part of me that I had to shed. And I don't just mean physically, because with every one of those pounds, there is the emotional state, right? The mental state that I was sort of locked in at that moment that inspired me to intake, to take in foods and to pack more pounds, so to speak, onto my body, right? Um, and that is a very powerful thing. Again, our diet, and understanding that relationship of how we really, again, are what we eat, what we take into our body, needing for us to understand more about how we utilize roots, how we need to get into more and take in more green leafy vegetables, right? um, how, like I was talking earlier about how we can start to source our actual water rather than drinking it. We can acquire it through the eating. This is where, if you ever heard the phrase, folks, eat your water, or seen that phrase, that's not just nonsense. That's a powerful statement. You can eat your water, right? And that's a source of H3O. So there are all these very, very important things or aspects of how we can control our health, um, and what that looks like, right? In terms of our doing so through our physical diet, right? What you put into your body plays such a powerful role in what you actually become, right? And those layers, right, of poundage that I put on my body associated with those negative or low vibrational frequency mind states that I was in at the time, that inspired me to eat and pack on those pounds. That's all part of what I needed to shed to get to this version of me. So that was very powerful. Okay. Heather comes back in and says, caterpillars. Okay. Talk to us a little more about the caterpillars, Heather. Well, she probably comes in. She does. Okay, I see that. I recently learned that you can program water to even be more alkaline. Oh, most certainly, sis. Doctor, I wrote a good bit in my first book about that. Dr. Emoto um, goes in great detail about the experimentation he performed, and others have done this as well, on water and how you can flash freeze water after giving it different, either high vibrational frequency or low vibrational frequency audible stimuli, and how that impacts the water. And you can actually physically see the way it changes the freezing of the water. And there are, in some instances, very elaborate patterns even formed in the ice based on the audible um, high vibrational frequency or low vibrational frequency statement that was made into the water before it was flash froze. Water is 100% programmable. You're absolutely correct about that. And yes, you can make it, you can affect the alkalinity of it, right? I won't just say that I would just make a habit of drinking tap water and then just trying to convert that into more high alkaline water. Although you can, to some degree, transmutate that. I think if you're working with from a better source of water or more alkaline water from the outset, that and then you also imply your energetic transmutation practices, that's very effective. And yes, it's very programmable. Then back down to Heather. Caterpillars molt and shed skin in order to grow. Okay, thank you, Heather. Yes, true indeed. Once again, showing you that they also go through a similar process, right? Of their bodies. And folks, even animals and insects have a certain level of consciousness. Know that to be true as well. And they also go through this give and take, this cellular give and take, where they're getting rid of old cells, right? Old dying cells, and replacing them with freshly replicated cells, right? And sometimes it is in great waves where there are where they go through very elaborate physical changes like molting or shedding of their skins, right? Very good point, Heather. Thank you very much. Mavi again says, at this point in the American market, food is an illusion. LOL. I need to go beyond a basic understanding of anatomy, and it looks like she was starting to spell out physiology. Yeah, I agree wholeheartedly. It is a crime that is being perpetrated against us here in this country by our own government. Let me state that again. It is a crime that is being perpetrated against the people of this country by our own quote unquote government, which is actually a foreign corporate entity, but that's a whole nother podcast for sure. But yeah, they are they have gotten us now to even the produce that we eat, that we buy out of these stores, is I heard it estimated as something like 30% of the mineral and nutrient content of what our vegetables and our various grocery items used to be 20, 30 years ago. Down that much to we're only getting like you eat an orange, you expect to get vitamin C and all these other healthy things, right? Beta carotene, all that, right? You're only getting 30% of what you're expecting. You eat a carrot or some grapes, right? Or whatever. You're only getting 30% or so of what you would have gotten from that very same food just 20, 30 years ago. Your government allowed that to happen. And it's getting worse. And they're still allowing that to happen. When you go and check for Joe Biden or Trump or any of them, because this is not something that happened with one particular party in office, they all work together, right? Quite honestly. And they have us getting all emotional about one side or another, and they sit down and have dinner together and king and cheer and break bread and all that, whatever. Um, but I really don't like to get political in any of this. But the point is that our own government has failed us in making sure that when we go to grocery stores, etc., um, any food outlet, that we should be taking in healthy food. Folks, there's a lot of what we take into our bodies in this country that's actually banned in other countries. Did you know that? I'm going to say it again. There is a lot of what we take into our bodies in this country that is actually banned in most of the rest of the world. But we're supposed to be the most civilized and the greatest country in the world and all that, right? But our own government is killing us and allow through our diet and other means that I've espoused on, in my opinion, essentially creating an atmosphere for us to die off quicker, right? And to have a diet that supports our death rather than our life and our health. And that's something that's not just a sad thing we should sit back and accept as victims, but something that we should be of an actionable mentality about, right? First of all, we need to start growing our own, having our own gardens and growing our own food more. Forget them. But we also should be holding them accountable as well, because they're using our tax money, they're using our resources, they're using all of our provisions in the most corrupt ways to give us back in return this unhealthy, toxic garbage, this poison, and we got to stop that. Mavi goes on to say, watch the documentary with the bleep. Do we know? That was a good one. Saw that. I recommend that as well. That doc goes into the science of this aspect of water. Yeah, that's important. I would say, well, let me go ahead and finish what Mom V says. What's more disturbing than a decrease in the quality of food, but is the fact that food isn't required to be food or non-deadly. It can just be poison. True that. Folks, we live in a world where we walk around daily and you can look in the sky and essentially have what is a can of rain spraying at you. Isn't that what chemtrails are? Have you seen what environmentalist agencies have reported as to what they're finding in chemtrails? All the various soft metals, which are certainly no good for you. All the direct toxins and poisons, like barium, that they're finding in zinc in this these chemtrails. Every aspect of our society, if you look at it with wide open eyes, is essentially designed to knock us off. And we accept it with a victim's mentality, like there's nothing we can do to change it. Certain things still get the old man going a little bit. And I say old man facetiously because I certainly feel like I'm about 20. Marv goes in again and says, is the American way, isn't it? True that, sis. The corporate monstrosity that is America today. It's that way. Dig that. Wow. Connecting the dots. DM, my girl Deanne says, I planted tomatoes, lettuce, parsley, and cilantro today. Yes. And I actually have myself a list. I'm going to make a post on my channel about a list of some very viable crops that we can grow even up here in the north in Pittsburgh, folks. There's a lot of things that we can grow to sustain ourselves and eat right from the very planet in which we live. Also, another point on the food, the quality of food or lack thereof, and the water and lack thereof, and also the H3O. I made a post in the community section of my channel from I really recommend this along with what Mom V was recommending earlier about the What the Bleep Do We Know video. I very strongly recommend that you watch that post, the video I put in that post from Dr. Yaki Awakened, right? That's not his entire name breakdown, but he goes by Yaki Awakened, and certainly we call him Dr. Yaki. But this young brother is powerful, first of all, and I salute him, right? I love when I see young people, right, just crushing what the system would send out at us as attacks. But anyway, man, look at that post and listen carefully, attentively, and with the intent of checking on all that he says, with free thinking, independent research of your own. And you'll likely be shaking your head and agreeing like I am that this brother's talking about some very powerful things, and is raising the awareness of on what we perceive as a healthy diet, right? Very powerful, and really gives us insight that's beyond what my studies are. I would claim easily, in terms of getting you to understand how you can impact your own health alchemically, and really understanding the differences between things we've been indoctrinated to believe are healthy and what's actually healthy for us, right? So very powerful, folks. In general, I gotta strengthen this recommendation. Please go to the community section on my channel. I have in that section some of the most profound and powerful information that you will find. Okay? I cannot express that with enough like air exclamation points. Please do that. Please. I mean, the information I have compiled in that section alone, I can make a whole nother channel just from that. I'm telling you, please check me out. Mavi, okay. After Deanne, Heather comes in and says, I'm growing peppers, cilantro, parsley, zucchini, and 3 types of tomatoes. Go ahead with your bad self. Man, I gotta catch up to y'all, admittedly, on the garden aspect, but that's coming. I'm going to soon have a very elaborate garden for myself. Marvi comes back in and says, if it's in the air, it's in the earth. It's in the water, the food, it's in all of us, which is why we should develop our knowledge and practice of holistic living and wellness. I wholeheartedly agree, sis. Great statement. Strong J. Y'all remember Grace Kelly on that? Don't mind me, I'll be wilding, man. Strong J says. All right. Man, I love y'all. But yeah, really, we have got to make it our business to know this stuff, y'all. This is our lives. Again, we don't have to be victims. We don't have to have it programmed into us that when you get to 50, 60, 70, you're supposed to start falling apart and dying. No. No, you should be thriving still. And also, I don't want to lose the other aspect of this conversation, which is not just health. Health is one aspect of what we can control, right? But folks, know and understand that we have it within us to manifest our entire reality. And don't lose that you can wake up, that I would recommend you should wake up every day and reinforce with your affirmations, with meditation, right? With general gratitude to the creative source, with prayers, whatever your most powerful awakening procedure or routine is, right? Wake up with that on a daily basis in utilization of setting the reality for your day. Because when you cognize it in your mind, you speak it aloud into the quantum field, and then your actions follow that path, you will manifest your reality. Folks, it trips me out sometimes how interactive and connective my reality has become with my consciousness. There are literally times in which things just pop up in my mind, and a second later I turn around and it's real. I'm talking about through things I'm people I go through on a daily basis some of the most incredible experiences that would make you say, wait a minute, that ain't real. How did that just, what? I'm trying to tell you. But anyway, know that your existence, your existential experience is programmable, is just as programmable as that water we were talking about earlier. How about that? Huh? How about that? Run tell that. Run tell that. Your existential experience, your life on this planet is just as programmable as the water we were talking about earlier. Your best opportunity to do so on a daily basis is when you first rise. Why is that, Big King? Because understanding that when you sleep, you, the real you, the actual you, your multidimensional existence, right? Your non corporeal self, your spirit being, your energy, however you want to express it, leaves your physical body, or at least is free to do so, right? And goes on a multi-dimensional journey every night. And we relate parts and bits of that as what we call dreams. But the important aspect is when you return to your vessel, it's waiting for your instruction. It's just like you got back in your car and put the key in the ignition and turned it. Your car's ready to go. Huh? You got to drive it. You got to drive your own body, folks. You got to drive your own life. This is your experience, no one else's. You dictate it. Huh? All right. Man, let me jump back in. Okay, I read that. All right, well, word life. Listen, folks, we're getting to that time where I want to open it up once again, run through the list. Anybody else? Deanne, Brother T, Brother Sean. Brother Sean, jump on in here, man. I definitely want to hear what you got to say about the subject, family. I just want to get any last comments from anybody. Please chime back in and jump in here with the family, and let's talk about it a little bit more before we close this out, because I would love to hear what you got to say. Marv comes back in and says, thank you for building, Sadiq, and everyone. I love to collectively build a list of wellness practices in our chats soon to come. Yeah, word life. Let's do that. We should have an active and running list of best practices, both physically, well, not just both, but three, spiritually, physically, and mentally, right? That is an excellent point and an excellent idea and suggestion, Marv. Thank you. Marv goes on and says, from sleep to hormones, exercise, etc. Yes, all of that. We should be sharing and accepting best practices, right? That is spot. See, I told you I love it when you get in the conversation, sis. Thank you. Thank you for a marvelous idea. I appreciate that. And I think that's something that is something we're going to start to do. Okay. All right, folks. Anybody else? Sean, again, come on, man. Jump back in, brother. I know you got something to say on this. I'm going to give a few minutes for anybody else who may be in still with us, or who may have chimed in and jumping back in, whatever the case is. Give us what you got and hit us off with a comment, question, statement, or something relative to what we're discussing, which is certainly dictating and setting our health and manifesting our reality on a daily basis. All right. Anybody else with something on that subject matter, please chime in. I'm gonna do like, I guess we got some customs that we done start developing. That ain't too bad. I like that. As has become customary, I'm gonna go ahead and like we chimed in, I'm gonna kind of chime out a little bit with some music and just allow for a minute or two further for somebody else to come back in. Oh, Deanne, thank you. Yes, that's a good idea, Marv. See, yeah, true that. We definitely need to do that, y'all. We family, huh? So let's start sharing and benefiting, from each other as a family does. True indeed. Yes, thank you, sister, and we love you. Thank you. Keep being with us. Yeah, man. All right. So again, as has become customary, I'm gonna jump back into the album PLR New Paradigm and play one of the songs for y'all. I would actually share more of other people's music that that I've come to like and appreciate for its high vibe content, but that's a sort of a slippery slope. So I gotta be careful with just freely playing other people's music. But fortunately, I do have my own that I can share with you. So without further ado, I'm gonna go ahead and play for you the Ill Grip one time. Listen to the Ill Grip, folks. And anybody else who wants to chime in, please do so. Yeah. Once again, folks, this is an adult forum. Just because we are not censoring anything, this is live, and we letting it fly how it comes in and doing how we do as we build as adults together, right? So this is an adult format, a little bit different from the channel. Not that we're bringing in foreign filth and all the negativity, because we get down like that. But it is an adult, free-thinking format where we're free to think and say as we do and please. With that said, around this time I start to get into the brethren, sister and brethren. Each one teach one to a new level. See the gods waking up, crushing all these devils. The elites of this world got another thing coming. Yeah, they do. Check the knowledge in the rhyme, keep showing you something. Billy Bob in the club with your hand on your snub. That's the ill grip, the ill grip. Through the hood, feel the hood, fresh as death like you should. That's the ill grip, the ill grip. Then you got your hair did, fresh cut where you live. That's the ill grip, the ill grip. Also hard, copper whip, time to flex real quick. That's the ill grip, the ill grip. There's a reason that they're spraying all this ish in the sky. Government bunch of wannabe thugs in disguise. I'm not the first one to see it, nor the first to say it. I stand with those who refuse and will not obey it. I will not okay it. No stamp of approval. All you low vibing types best prepare for removal. Worldwide moving peace, love, respect. Devils, what you expect? This world a damn same. The whole thing must change. The corporations swipe you up and whitewash the brain. Secure society's behind that. Who do you think? The brainwash them so quick, don't pause or blink. Sucker move, get back, best embrace the king. Flexing higher frequencies, new knowledge. Yeah. When you got your mind right, then your spirit shines bright. That's the ill grip, the ill grip. You ain't falling for the plan of the 1% plan. That's the ill grip, the ill grip. Shining light on the pipe with a social class fight. That's the ill grip, the ill grip. Put your back against the wall, stand. That's the ill grip, the ill grip. All right. That was the Ill Grip, folks. One of the songs off my album, Yet Again, PLR New Paradigm. Please check that out on all your streaming platforms because it's right there for you, right? So thank you once again. Sister Deanne comes in and says, I think it's a good idea to start with manifesting in your own health, right? True that. Eventually, we're going to have to manifest a whole new world. Starting with yourself is great practice. True that. And quite honestly, folks, just so that we all know, we are manifesting our world right now and have been every day. It's just that we've been manifesting the way they've been wanting us to manifest, which is on a subconscious level that can be manipulated by all these external sources and stimuli, right? But now we're starting to manifest from a conscious point and bring into existence our power, right? And who we are truly, and what we want our journey to look like in this physical 3D, 4D experience. That's for us to dictate and not others, right? And when I say others, I refer to the socially economic elite because they've proven they don't have our best interests in mind. I got love for them too. I love everybody, but there's a different, I'm able to separate actions, right, from people. And I'm able to love all people, but I don't approve of all actions. And the actions of the socially economic elite have identified their agenda as in stark contrast with what is best for us. And they certainly don't have it in their intentions for us to live our best, for us to be our best selves and to live our best lives. So true that. Thank you very much for that, Deanne. Everybody, once again, please make sure that you visit Deanne's channel, Connecting the Dots with Deanne, right? And others, any of you who I would recommend that you develop your own channels if you feel that you got the time and there's a venue and a means of which you want to express yourself. I would love to see it. Marvy, I think we would all go to your channel as well, sis, if you was to do that. But yeah, really, please, y'all, let's support and build up Deanne's channel, Connecting the Dots with Deanne. And I encourage any of you who want to do something similar yourselves, right? All right, folks, anybody else with anything that you want to chime in, I'm going to leave another moment or two to do so, since we're having such a magnificent conversation. I ain't got to rush and run away. I got a couple more minutes for anybody else who might want to chime in. Please do so. In fact, I might even can come up with another song. One more. Not that I got just a million of them out there. There's only 8 songs on the album. But I do have a 9th song that's out. It's actually not on the album, folks. This is a song that I have out in its promo version right now, but I'm actually working on coming up with another version that I have a very dear family member of mine, cousin of mine, who hopefully will be singing on. And if that works out and goes down, it's going to be dope. True that. But in this current promo version, please check out All Together. And this, folks, will be the last few minutes that I give for anybody else who wants to chime in. Please do so. I want to hear what you got to say. Brother Sean, if you're still in, come back and holler at me. Brother T, come on, holler at me. Anybody else, holler at me if you will. peace, love, respect. See all somebody might call an old soul. Kings and deep, baby, every time's back to take control. Attack the while he spoke, attack the while he sleep. He just mind the Buddha and turned it into something sweet. Nothing stopping the juggernaut once he set in motion. Evil clown boom down and right back to smooth coasting. Dude posing a little too close, they cramping my style. I play the speaker close while I'm cracking a smile. After all, what's a party? Should be dancing and smoking, laughing and joking, having fun and keeping it open. All together. We finally made it. Wow, we did it all together. We finally made it now. We can enjoy it forever. We finally made it. How can we just all collect all this beauty for my life of peace, love, respect? We finally made it. Wow, we did it all together. We finally made it now. We can enjoy it forever. We finally made it. How can we just all collect all this beauty for my life of peace, love, respect? No one together. Love looking good. Yep. Fellas, show your area love and hoods up. Aggressive, cause these strokes like a king should be. Final dancer with the ladies is probably 2 or 3. Who are we to do anything less than celebrate? Back in the gym, y'all. These forever. I thought I told them devils. They tried to rule in this misery on so many levels. But we expressing our happiness together. But boom, this party ain't over like no time soon. This party ain't over like no time soon. Finally made it. Wow, we did it all together. We finally made it now. We can enjoy it forever. We finally made it. How can we just all collect all this beauty for my life of peace, love, respect? We finally made it. Wow, we did it all together. We finally made it now. We can enjoy it forever. We finally made it. How can we just all collect all this beauty for my life of peace, love, respect? All together. Together. Hey. I kind of feel like one more. One more. For whoever stays in, your listening edification. True indeed. I got one more for y'all. Why don't y'all vibe with me? This is Vibing High by Big King Sadiq. This is Off the Album. Vibe with me, smoke with me, get high with me, get high with me. Vibing high, vibing high, vibing high, vibing high, get high with me, shine with me, fly with me, fly with me. Vibing high, vibing high, vibing high, vibing high. My new charged up, third eye open, melanin activated, subject matter thought provoking. We really not just poking at the surface, conscious hoping that we focus, so we know it that we really floating on the high vibration. Kundalini activation, we achieve that. Best believe that, and be impressed with individual spiritual progress on the path to fifth dimensional consciousness. Yes, something we should want for one another. So my sisters, brothers, get your shine on, taking nothing from you, always support. We can always afford any negative thought or action before it even happens. With the help of Lady Green Beauty or Mr. Bombard, marijuana people, tell me who you really love. When we pass the weed, we pass the knowledge too. There's always a conversation there for me and you. That's how we do. And high vibrations keep it true. No deception kicking through, short and sweet for you. Like King Sadiq would do. Like King Sadiq would do. Dig, vibe with me, smoke with me, get high with me, get high with me. Vibing high, vibing high, vibing high, vibing high, get high with me, shine with me, fly with me, fly with me, vibing high. Yeah, sister. Awaken early morning, prayers as I rise, energy ascending, the sun is in my eyes. Hit the bathroom to freshen my physical expression. I'm feeling no stress. I'm just so blessed. Saturday is around. I want to socialize. I spread throughout the hood. Peaceful, explosive vibes. As for my dress today, it's an impressive slice between comfort from reading something ladies think is nice. I think it smelled it twice. Ain't that aroma nice? I'm so ready for smoking. Select the part that's right. Buck a quarter ounce straight from my tree of life. Gotta smoke that with my tribe. We leave them on sight. They say variety really has the spice of life. We put our paws together, that's looking really right. Roll up a pack of bowl, we about to take flight. We hit the park for smoking, it's going down tonight. Vibe with me, smoke with me, get high with me, get high with me. Vibing high, vibing high, vibing high, vibing high. Get high with me, shine with me, fly with me, fly with me. Vibing high, vibing high, vibing high, vibing high. I hope y'all enjoyed that. Once again, that was Vibing High off the album PLR Paradigm. Please check it out, folks, on all your streaming platforms. Certainly all the most popular ones. Please check it out and get back at me. Let me know what you feel and think. It only helps me to grow, both in this and as an artist, which I'm always trying to do. So thank you so much. Man, I had a great time with y'all today, as always. Thank you so much. I love you all, truly. I love you all. And I thank you so much. And I enjoy and appreciate this forum, this family that we have built up so much. And we have such wonderful conversations. I see and know that we will only continue to grow that as we progress further. And man, I was starting to say sky's the limit, but it ain't no limit. Huh? We ain't got no limit jumping off right now. True indeed. Man, I love you all. Please make sure that you come back here next week, Saturday, 7 p.m. sharp, right? Please come back here and build with me again. Be a part of this wonderful family and chime in on the podcast. This has been yet another episode of Building with Big King Sadiq. Thank you. I love you all, and thank you for helping to build the worldwide movement. Peace, love, respect. Big King Sadiq, I'm out. Thank you all.